Today we play golf.
Let me show you how we do it in the pros.
Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
I never miss with the 7-iron.
A conversation with some of the most interesting innovators and entrepreneurs behind the biggest names in golf.
My friends were the golf clubs. I lived on the golf course. I lived on the driving range.
From pro talk
You should learn something from each and every single round you play in.
to fun from on and off the green.
Why would you play golf if you don't play it for money?
Just let me put the ball in the hole.
This is Behind the Golf Brand Podcast with Paul Liberatore. Behind the Golf Brand Podcast is sponsored by On Point, the revolutionary three-dimensional domed golf ball marker. On Point provides alignment recognition as small as a degree of inaccuracy from the planned course of the putt face angle. Endorsed by Jim Furyk, U.S. Open champion and 17-time PGA Tour winner. On Point alignment technology has been proven to increase putting performance and help lower your score. Visit onpointgolf.us and be sure to use code GA10 for a 10% discount. On Point, make more putts.
This episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast is sponsored by our friends at Orca Golf Bags. Orca Golf Bags is the only woman-owned golf bag design and build company in the country. And what's so great about Orca is that they do more than just golf bags. They do gym and leisure bags too. So be sure to check out orca-golf.com for more. What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast. This week, we are on episode 37 of the show. Holy crap, we're starting to get a lot of numbers now. But this week, I have a friend of mine who we've probably been talking for a year and a half before they even launched. Like, they hadn't even launched yet, right? That's when we first started talking. And I knew they were going to go somewhere, or like the first time I talked to him. And then we actually hung out at the PGA show, had lunch. So he's one of my buddies. So this week, I have Dickie Walsh from Cutter Golf. Cutter Golf is the newest and hottest wedge right now that is blowing up. We'll talk about why and how it works and who's reviewed it, because we reviewed it. I think we were the first reviewer, actually. Honest to God, but it's awesome. And he's just like us. Like, he's just a dude like us who started his own wedge company pretty much in the last 2 years, and it's doing really well. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dickie.
Thank you, Paul. I was looking forward to this. When you asked me, I couldn't wait to do it. So I've seen a couple more of your previous episodes, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's fun. It's just like, this is just us hanging out. Like, this is all like, we just like talk on the phone for an hour. This is what it's like. It's like we're talking about all kinds of stuff. So where do you live? Where are you located at?
I live in Northern California near Sonoma County, a little town called Petaluma. Live out in the country.
I've been there. That's beautiful over there.
Smells like cow dung all the time.
Does it? I didn't. Yeah. I know exactly what it is. I think there's a bunch of wineries in there, right?
Yeah.
I know exactly.
I'm in wine country. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be drunk every day.
Well, there's a lot of breweries popping up out here too. That's good.
Really?
Thing. Oh yeah.
I think I went there like 10 years ago. We stayed at Airbnb, or I was like early 2000s. It's expensive, man. If you try to get an Airbnb in that area, it is freaking expensive. Or it was then. It was like $800 for one night or something like that. And I was like, holy crap.
There's a lot of money up here. So they expect people
I didn't pay for it. My cousin paid for it because he works for Google. And he's like, I'll pay for it. And I was like, fine with me, man. Whatever you want to do. So tell me your first golf memory. When did you first start golfing?
Oh, gosh. I started golfing. My high school girlfriend, Judy, her father was a member of Green Valley Country Club. I don't know, maybe some viewers will know where that is, Northern California. And I just remember going out with her. I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I remember, I was a sports fanatic, so I was hacking away at it. But, when you're 17 and an athlete, you can, once you connect, you're like, oh, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
So that's my first memory. I've got a ton more. One specific memory was how I came up with this club. And that was my favorite memory.
Yeah, so tell us that story, because I remember you telling me this, and I've like a long time ago, and I think it's fascinating because like you just had this idea, right, when you were playing golf. So let us know how that kind of came about.
So I believe it was, like early 90s. I can't remember the exact year, and maybe I should find that out when I tell the story. But
Yeah, man.
it was
we're on a
Newport Country
podcast.
Club, Newport
Just
Country
kidding.
Club down in Newport Beach, and I was following Tom Watson. I've only been to a couple PGA, but that was my first. Following Tom Watson, everybody knows who's that is. No introduction there. He hit this ball right near the green, and his ball was right next to palm tree, and he couldn't hit it standing there. So he had to turn his back to the target. And at the time, I'd never seen a shot like that. So everybody knows what it is. He turned the club around and he hit it behind or backwards, and it just picked the ball clean because the shape was, like this. He just picked it clean. It landed on the green near the hole. The place erupted. But I looking at that thinking, whoa, I've never seen that before. So of course, the first thing I do when I get a club in my hand, a normal wedge, I turn it over and I'm studying it and I'm thinking, man, that's really cool. So after seeing this, I'm thinking that I'm this unbelievable golfer. I invent this shot where I hit it with a toe with a normal stance. Everybody knows it's called chipping with the toe, and I had never seen it before. So here I am shooting with the toe near the green, and I'm getting really good at it. And my buddies are like, wow, you're really good at that. And I'm like, yeah, I invented that shot. I really didn't.
You really
Later
thought you
on,
did too. They're like,
I really
"No,
thought I
bro,
did.
Get out of here."
But and later on, I just said to myself, wait a minute. Let me look around and see if there's anything that's ever been done like this. And of course, nobody ever attempted it. And that's how I got the inspiration. That was, again, 15, 16 years ago from today. It was a big, big dream.
So before that, though, like you're a hackler like us, right? Like you're like a pro, or you're not like, you just are an inventor. Your mind works like that.
Yeah. Look, I'm a businessman. I have a job outside of all of this. And I am just a guy. I have never worked in the industry, nor ever wanted to. I never wanted to be so. I have a friend of mine that I went to college with, played in the pros for many, many years. And I remember seeing him at a reunion. And I said, so how's the golf thing going? He goes, well, I've been playing professional golf for about 11 years now. And I haven't played golf for pleasure since 11 years ago. It's a job. Just like
true,
anybody
though,
else.
with anything, like I used to be a pilot, right? And I was like, oh, that's the best job in the world. I'm like, not when you do it for a living. Like it becomes a job. Like the fun of it there's a difference, right? When you cross that line, wherever that line is for whatever you like to do, like then, like for me with the podcast and the YouTube and all this crap, like it's fun for me because it's not my job, right? It's what I want to do when I have extra time or free time or relaxing or whatever. But if it's a job, I'd be like, this sucks. Like it just works at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I've never worked in the industry. I don't want to be in the industry, but just by doing this, have become a participant. And I don't want to claim that, I'm a groundbreaking individual that's going to change the world. None of that stuff. I just created a wedge that I thought that should be created from scratch, not from a precedent of a normal traditional looking wedge. So I looked at it and said, how does physics dictate how a wedge should be shaped? And that's really how it began. So it wasn't anything like, I'm going to change the world. It was just a dude trying to create a club, and I ended up doing it. So it's been a fun ride so far.
It's crazy. So like, when did you've been working, and you still work a full-time job, which I know that.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell everybody where you work, but Dickie's a very smart man. He works for a very big company and he's very high up. So he's just like us though, right? And you decide, hey, I'm actually gonna do this. I want to actually come up with something, because it's been probably festering for years in the back of your mind, right? So like, when did you start figuring out like, hey, I'm gonna do this? I bet your wife thought you were crazy, right?
No, my wife's a golfer. In fact, when we go to Hawaii, she's the one who's saying, when are we golfing? Where are we golfing? And it's like,
cool.
Dude, we just paid 3 days in a row. But no, she's super supportive of this. In fact, she's part of the company. She's an incredible marketer. She's been marketing her entire
really?
career.
Oh, you're lucky.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. She's the idea lady. So I can tell you that. But, like I said, I thought of the idea 15 years ago, but I never really got into, a prototype. And I'd like
it was harder back then too, right? I mean, in the last 5 years, I feel like people can do stuff now. Before it's like, where the hell do you start?
Yeah. Back when the 3D printer was, a consumer product, that's when they were super expensive, thousands of dollars. And there was a term that was coined called the makers. And the makers really were the people who could do stuff, but the normal consumer couldn't. But now there's so many resources. But, to answer your question, how I got going on this was I just sat down one day, bought a block of clay and made this ugly Fred Flintstone thing.
That looks like Fred
And,
Flintstone's wedge, actually.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous, right? But I thought to myself, okay, well, I used to work for a company who made design software, computer-aided design software.
Mhm.
And so I know how to use CAD software. So I made my own 3D model and all this stuff. And I bought a 3D printer and printed it. And I also have I have a lot of resources, friends who, would offered to help me. And the first submission to the USGA was kind of a joke. I was very high and just about it and thinking, wow, this is going to be great. And I got this letter, this decline letter saying, we're sorry, but your design doesn't meet these standards. And it was the things like grooves and, the height and all those things, the things that are pretty standard. But there was the one thing that they said, this is the most subjective category in approval for clubs, is a thing called plane in shape. And plane in shape is interpreted. It has to, basically what it means is it has to look like a golf club. And this doesn't look like a golf club. So
Look at anchor.
Yeah. So I licked my wounds and I said, all right, where do I go from here? But I got a handwritten note in the mail a few days later from the director of the USGA. Never met the man, spoke to him on the phone a few times. And he said basically this: Dear Dickie, you're really onto something. Golf needs innovation like this. I hope you pursue this. Signed, the man's name. And I thought, wow, that's really encouraging. And at that point, I was kind of like, man, maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't have the skills for it. I'm just a guy. And but that really motivated. And that's when I turned up the knobs. I went and found people. I found this and this and this. And I probably spent, $10,000-$15,000 on just getting nowhere. And that's one of the things that's so hard about being an inventor is you spend money, everything you do, everywhere you turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was crazy. But I finally got to a point where I said, all right, I gotta
Really
do something about this, or drop it and never think of it again. But they say in life, it's not the things that you do that you regret. It's the things that you never did that you regret. And I said, I got to do something. So I went to a golf forum.
You can say what you want.
There's a lot of forums out there.
That's what everybody's on it.
Yeah, everyone's on it.
Was it Golf X or who is it?
It was
it was
whatchamacallit? GolfWorks, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. I only used it one time. But they have all these categories, and one of them was club making. So I, asked to be approved, got in there, and I posted one question. All I said was, does anyone know a real golf designer, not somebody who works in the product industry or consumer products, so somebody who can design a golf club? And I got one answer. I mean, you'd think people would chime in and all these things, and hey, what are you making? Nothing, just one answer.
Cheers.
And it was from a guy who I found out later is super, super famous. And he said, this guy, Jeff Sheets, here's his website. That was it. This guy, Jeff Sheets, here's his website. I wrote back. I said, thank you. I clicked on the website, and very kind of innocuous website. Nothing, no frills.
Fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing fancy. I clicked on his email address and I wrote him an email saying everything I just told you, exactly the whole story. And when at the very end, I didn't say anything about the USGA and the handwritten note. I sent him a product spec. Well, actually, no, I just sent him the email, and he writes back pretty quickly. He says, I don't work with individuals. I'm sorry, but here's a couple people that you may want to call that, may be able to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote back, I said, that's too bad. And I took a picture of that handwritten note. I said, I got this note, but thank you very much for your time. He writes back immediately and says, I know this person, this director at USGA. He would never say that if it wasn't something that was interesting. Why don't you send me what you have and let me take a look at it? So again, being in the business world, I know how to write product specs, and I wrote a pretty good product spec. I've been doing it, this one product spec for like 15 years. So it's very fine tuned. And I sent it to him, and he calls me back within 15 minutes. And he says two things. He goes, I got two things to tell you. I think you've created a brand new club or a shot category, and I want in. That's all he said. And I didn't know what to say. I was like, okay, hi, how are you? Yeah, what does that mean? And anyway, it was that. I think that was in October of 18, and no joke, on November, I think it was 17th, we submitted to the USGA, and on Christmas Day, he calls me. I'm in Hawaii. And he goes, I wanted to give you a present on Christmas Day. He goes, you just got Conforming with USGA within less than 2 months. Couldn't believe it. With less than 2 months of him saying, I want in, to getting approved. So, I don't know what it was. Maybe the planets. I don't believe in astrology, but man, it was.
No, it's because you freaking made something that is revolutionary, like, and people see it, right? Or the people that know, you didn't know. You thought you knew, but like you didn't know. And then when people actually saw it, they're like, "Oh crap, this is something different." I'll tell you right now. When I first talked to you, I was like, "Oh shit, this is the new alien wedge," or even better. You know what I mean? Like you didn't sell a million of these things. Like I already knew it. I knew it. It wasn't like you see a lot of like bullshit clubs, whatever. Nope, I knew it right away. I'm like, these didn't sell a million of these, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You use that word revolutionary, and you will never see that in anything we do, marketing, whatever. And here's why. I feel like I should have a musket when I say that. I just don't like that word revolutionary. A lot of people think it's revolutionary, fine. But I just think it's a funny word when it comes to, because so many people use it.
It becomes cliche.
It does.
My word I like to use, I don't use revolutionary. Because I feel like I hear that it's like revolution golf and all this other stuff. My favorite word is I like disruptor, right? You're going to disrupt the market, like something that no one's ever seen. And like that is something, that's why I always try to feel like I kind of live that way too. Like, okay, we're doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Right. So, so then, okay. So you get a USGA conforming, right? And then what happened?
So once I got that, part of what I do in my real life is we manufacture product and we get it manufactured in multiple countries. Not just China, we get parts all over the world, and we sell a product that's I think from $5,000 to $10,000. So it's a high quality product. We're sort of the Mercedes-Benz of our industry. So I know a lot about importing, manufacturing. I sort of cut my teeth on all this, and my wife says all the time. My wife says all the time, everything you've done in your entire career is a culmination of the cutter wedge. It's everything you do or you have done in the past, you know what to do now. And she's right. Everything I've done, it's been so easy to do, except for one thing, find a golf designer. And when Jeff came on board, it was amazing. Jeff has worked with every single club manufacturer, I believe, that's ever lived. I mean, he's one of the most prolific designers on the planet. There are a lot of names out there. He's more of an unknown person. But
tell everybody what Jeff has invented or has been a part of, like what clubs. Like it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, Jeff told me a story, and I'm going to try and remember it word for word, but I may get some wrong. So sorry, Jeff. He told me a story that somebody paid him a lot of money to come up with a self-aiming club. That's a big deal, a self-aiming club, because most people say, and we've all been out there, all you golfers out there, you line up, you feel like you're perfect, you hit the club so sweet. It's just that ping, and it goes off to the right or goes off to the left. I thought I was aiming correctly. So a self-aiming club is a big deal. And he tried to do it, and he said he couldn't do it, and he failed. He gave the money back, and that was the end of the story. And when he saw this, he goes, "You've done this in one fell swoop." He goes, I don't know why I didn't see it before. So what he did was he just took my product spec and my thoughts and my ideas and sketches, and he came up with a prototype. And the first prototype, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This was just the basic prototype. It wasn't a final, but this is the back end. You can see this is just a amalgamation, sort of this Frankenstein thing he just cut up and welded in his shop. And he sent it to me. And he says, don't look at how it looks. Look at the premise behind it. And the thing about what he did was he created a brand new sole. That's the start of all of this cutter wedge story. The sole of the club, I'm going to show you the real club now. Okay. So here's the real club. This is the cutter wedge. That's the backside. You can see the perimeter weighting is very balanced. The sole is arcuate in shape, like a bow and arrow, or what I like to say is it's like a boat hull. And of course, the famous face, everybody says, well, the face sort of looks like a driver face, but you can see that it has a high top edge, but it's symmetrical. You have this giant sweet spot, but here's the sole area. It's a very, very narrow leading edge. So the premise behind the sole basically is like a boat hull. Think of this, you see these, a shovel, that flathead shovel, you lay it down on the ground and try and push it through grass. It's going to catch. Now you take one of those pointed shovels put that on the grass and push it through. It's just going to, with ease. That's sort of the premise behind this sole. The sole is this, again, I say this boat hull, but then it leans into this leading edge. And the leading edge, when you swing the cutter wedge, it feels like you're not even catching the grass. It's like, am I above the grass? Because again, it just shoots right through it. And the comments we get back from people about the feel, they say, I don't feel the drag. It's so much less. Then obviously, I mean, the biggest thing people say is, wow, that face looks like a spatula, or it looks like, and we get a lot of funny things that people say about it. But you put the combination.
It works.
Yeah. A lot of people go, oh my God, I love that look. And some people go, it's such an optical illusion. But I'll talk about some comments later. But you put those three things together, there's three things that happen with the club. Again, you don't feel the drag. So what happens when you have less drag? Ball's going to go farther. So you have to adjust sometimes. Some people say when I'm right next to the green, normally I would swing the club at this pace, but now with the cutter wedge, it's going farther. So you have to adjust based off of the drag. The second thing that happens is the club is literally lining up for you. That's when Jeff was saying this is a self-aligning club and you're pointing it. People tell me all the time, it's going exactly where I'm pointing versus it's going in a direction that I'm thinking about shooting. They're pointing and it's going. And the last thing people are saying is that it is a super confidence builder. So many people are saying I'm hitting this thing and I'm not thinking about it anymore. Like the dreaded shot over water or over a bunker. I'm on the other side of it. People don't think about it anymore because there's a lot of physics
they feel
behind
confident,
this.
right? They look down at it and they're like, oh, this thing's going to make it over.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of physics behind this. And again, I'm not a physicist, but I know some physicists and they've helped me with the design. Our club has a center of gravity that is like no other, I think. And so many people in the industry have told me this. But here's the kind of cool thing. For you gearheads out there in golf, there's a thing called an IEE-MOI. It is a measurement of forgiveness. So a forgiving club that has a lot of forgiveness, what that basically means is it's a twisting thing. This is something I learned. I watched that one where you had Terry Kaler on, and he talked about a lot of different things. And really interesting show. I really respect the man. He's been doing this a long time. But Jeff told me that the forgiveness factor is just basically twisting at impact. A typical wedge is right around 2,600 in that scale. Now, this is what I've been told. 2,600, 2,650. The higher, the more forgiving. Well, Jeff did a quick measurement of the cutter wedge. It's like 3,400 because there's almost zero twisting because of that boat hull. So that when we discovered these things, I mean, those were not my intentions in the beginning. But man, when we discovered these things that are measured in golf terms and terminology, it really was just like I was vindicated because so many people said, gimmick or whatever, the face. And, one thing I would say to people out there is do not listen to the naysayers or the haters. Man, there's so many of them, but I have more supporters than haters.
Yeah, especially. So then what happens? So you guys get it built, right? You get the prototype done. And then what happens?
Yep. So the prototyping was the hardest part because, you have to, you got to get a block of steel, literally a 431 stainless steel block. And those are expensive. And here's the most expensive part of the entire process. You got to find somebody with a 3-axis CNC machine. If you don't know what that means is that's one of those machines where they have 3 drills and different angles. It's an X, Y, and Z angle. And it's milled literally with these drill bits out of steel. So you get a golf club out of this block of steel. And it takes hours. That process nearly cost me $4,300 for one golf club. And I think it's the most expensive golf club on the planet. So once that prototype was done, then you do this thing called testing. And I gave this thing to probably, 30 people that I knew, and they all tested it. And they all came back and said, man, this thing is legitimate. It's a little weird at first, and the thing was that the prototype didn't have grooves. The guy didn't have the ability to make grooves. So this was a piece of steel with no grooves. And people were still able to make shots with this without grooves. And I just knew right then after the testing, like, oh boy. And then after that, it just came down to securing a factory. And my factory also manufactures for 3 of the big mafia. So, I affectionately called. I have one of the best factories on the planet. and I don't cheapen it out. It's expensive to make. I could have went to, Vietnam or somewhere else where I could have made it for $10 a pop, but I didn't do that. It's the club is expensive.
No. You can't. You can never reduce your quality. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way.
Yeah, and that's not my MO. I come from quality product, and I figured, well, I'm going to spend the money for it, and I'm going to charge a little more for it. And let some people look at the price, and there's people out there that say, I only play forged clubs. Okay, good for you. And they say your club's too expensive. And like I said, there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions. And if you ever invent something, there's a lot of opinion, and it's up to you to listen, to thank them for that opinion, and to implement that opinion or not. But I always say, be humble. Nobody likes an inventor asshole. So you got to be humble and just say thank you and move on. But I can say that we had one iteration from this to this club. We had nothing in between. It was like it was meant to be.
That's awesome.
And so then we went to market. I have a lot of business experience, so I built my website by myself and launched it. Soft launched it like you did with your stuff, and haven't spent a dime on marketing.
So when did you launch? Wasn't like it was, I think this was like November of no, it was like September, I think, of 19.
Actually, it was a soft launch October.
Yeah,
of 19.
That's when I talked to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then we did if you want to call it a hard launch, November, December timeframe, and it didn't take off. It was no giant hockey stick. And I always tell people, I get a lot of people saying, oh, you need to get a pro. And I always say, man, I'd love that, but I'm not going to waste time on trying to get a pro. I don't really need a pro. That's not my goal. I would love to sell millions of these, but my goal isn't just to sell it, hit it, and quit it. I want to create a legitimate product. And that's our goal for 2021, is to create legitimacy, not sales goals, not design goals. It's create legitimacy. That's it. And, when we launched, our sales have been just going up, but gradually. We've had a couple big months. Anytime somebody does a review, it definitely spikes. And we've had a lot of reviewers.
So one of them review, I know you had Rick Shields review it. How'd you get that?
Yeah, that was the biggest one. Well, I always say I've never been starstruck. I've been around celebrities all my life. I played a sport in college, and a lot of those guys ended up playing pro, and one guy's a Hall of Famer. So I'm not starstruck. So I just figured, shoot, I'm just going to email Rick Shields. And I emailed him, and he answered me. And I said, would you like to review my product? He said, yes, send me one. I sent it. Within 3 weeks, there was the review. It was that simple. Very nice man.
Did he charge you?
Not, nope, he doesn't charge anybody. And also another thing too is
I never knew that.
After we did that review, I asked him, would you like to, promote my product? He goes, I don't do that. I don't promote anyone. So a lot of people say, oh, he gets paid by this, he gets paid by that. I think Rick just makes his money off of the advertisements and YouTube.
I love Rick.
No.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but he's my favorite YouTuber. I mean, for golf, honestly. Yeah. Like he's straight shooter, right? There's no, I don't know. Because that was massive. We sold a lot of clubs. Oh, I bet you did.
That.
Because he has over 1 million subs. And so when I saw that, I was
1.7.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap. How the hell did he get Rick Shields to review it? And then I mean, I sent that email. When I saw that, I sent it out to my email list and everybody I knew. I was like, and because you hooked us up too, because I remember you gave us, we still have the discount, like a small, a discount on the product. So people, I remember I might sell a ton of those things now. I mean, just because of that reason as well, because people, you're taking care of our subs and our readers and our, so I that's some real validation right there, I think, especially because you didn't pay them. Like,
I haven't paid any.
I don't get paid. I wish I got paid for this shit.
Yeah.
I'd be doing this.
I haven't paid a reviewer yet, and we've got 12. 12 reviewers have done comprehensive reviews, and none of them are bad. Some of them are, offhanded comments like, "I really don't like the shape." Like when Rick said, "Well, I put this in the bag." I don't think so because of the way it looks, and he got a lot of flack for that from his viewers. But I don't, the look is,
dude. Nobody. Here's the thing, right? If you care about the look, then that's not the club for you. Don't like if you care about that look, then that's not the club for you. If you don't care about the way it looks because you like want to be better, then you don't care, right? And most people don't care unless you could have the best looking stuff in your bag, but be the shittiest golfer in the world, right? I mean,
there's something that I say all the time to people who say to me, the club's just not for me, or nah, I don't want to buy it because I don't like the way it looks. I mean, I don't know how many of your listeners or viewers ever gone to get fitted for a set of clubs. I recommend it because you play better when you do that.
Oh, hell yeah,
But
you do.
there's a process, right? Here, try this brand, and you sort of hone into one brand. I love playing Callaways. By the way, Callaway, if you're listening, I'd like you to buy my club from me. I'd like you guys to acquire us. That's my goal.
Yeah, and it's like I don't have to work anymore at all. Period.
Right. But when you do that, you hone in on one club set, one brand, because it's your height, weight,
you
all
like
that
it.
stuff.
Yeah,
right.
It just works.
I'm not offended if somebody says I can't swing the club. I don't like it. I'm not offended by that because it's not for everyone. But I got to be honest with you. I got a couple, points that we've achieved in this last year. So your questions were, what happened after that? So what happened after we launched? We are now in over 35 countries around the world. We are in every state of the US. We have sold through 4 orders of inventory, and we have not gotten one bad review. And here's the best part, which is unbelievable. I have a 30-day money back guarantee. Like I said, we've sold thousands of these. I have 6 returns. 6.
Yeah.
6 people have said, I can't hit it. That is it's typically around 3 to 7% returns in a good world. I'm really pleased with the reactions of clubs, of club purchases.
Well, to see what happened was when you guys first launched, though, if I remember correctly, you guys had one club, right? What was the degree of that wedge?
With 56-degree wedge.
Yeah, and then now you have all 3, right? You have or more.
52, 56, and 58, right and left hand. Yeah.
And before you only had one, and you had just one club. That was it. That's what I reviewed. Actually, the club you sent me, I don't even have anymore. My dad took it. So if you'd like me to review the other 2 clubs, then you can send me some.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I'll send those out right away.
My dad's like, hey, this is really cool. And I'm like, give it back. He's like, nah, I'm going to use it. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. The thing that, I don't know, we have a patent on the club.
Good.
We got a patent in 7 months. I don't know if anybody out there knows, but that's unheard of. It takes 3.5 years just to get an answer. We got it in 7 months, literally handed to me in 7 months.
Is it a design patent or what? Or did you get 2 kinds?
It is a design, and the other one is a utility.
Utility.
I have a utility and design patent.
So you're both.
And
you're covered.
Here's the thing, that when we patented this product, we didn't patent a wedge. We patented and it is, I'm going to read it to you here. What we did was, it's an iron type golf club head. So our plan isn't to release wedges. In the patent, it states from I think it's a 7-degree to all the way to a 72-degree. So our plan isn't just to release irons. We're going to release our plan, just not wedges. We're going to release a set of irons into hybrids. That's the big Cutter Golf goal. Mm-hmm. And, our designer, Jeff, he doesn't see any issue with that. Again, it's one of those things where if somebody sees the face, oh gosh, that face, I can't get over that look, then it's not for you. But so far, the whole idea of releasing a set of clubs.
You started with wedge, but now you're going to branch into other clubs because you can do it. And it's kind of cool because you're building a whole nother type, where this style has never existed, right?
It's not.
That's crazy.
What's interesting is a lot of people have come to me and said, well, what happens when you have these clubs and, where do you go from here? And, I'm not divulging anything that's secret or our strategy. I'll tell your listeners, we want to be a golf company. My goal isn't to quit my job and to become a president of a golf company.
No.
We talked earlier about how a job is a job, and I don't want this to be my job. I love golf. I love playing. I'm not fanatical about it, but I love to play. I don't want to become a golf company. Eventually, maybe I'll hire somebody to run this, or maybe, like I said, somebody will acquire us. Because the fact of the matter is we got the patents, and we've got 15, 20 years of this ready to go. So, I'm just hoping that we're able to get to that point with the irons. And if not, somebody will have the opportunity to do it.
I mean, It's kind of cool. So right now you have the 3 wedges. Are you this year? You're just what? So what's your plan for this year then? Is it just to build on what you already have and not like, you know what I'm saying? Like build more foundation, I guess. A better way of saying it.
You know, like I said earlier, obviously I'd love to sell millions of these, but I think what it's going to come down to isn't, getting a pro or spending $1 million on advertising.
Oh, no.
I think there's a groundswell on this, and it's going to continue to grow. I think this year you're not going to see any more clubs. Maybe not even next year. We might make some design changes, very subtle design changes, tweaks. Yeah, but for the most part, we could sustain ourselves for a few years just by selling these wedges, because the top selling products it goes drivers, putters, wedges. Those are the top 3 selling products. And the other trend that's happening right now, which is something that I have been doing for years in my other businesses, is selling direct to consumer through a website is really where the world is moving to.
Yeah,
there's a lot of metrics out there that point to direct to consumer. I mean, you've probably seen this. The Adams Tight Lies, they've been re-released strictly direct to consumer, not through dealers. Because I think that TaylorMade, who purchased that line years ago, is thinking, well, there's so much
Adams,
direct to consumer.
Disappeared. What year was that? That was like 4 years ago.
It was like 98.
Yeah, what was the new Adam? They had the Adams Blue Driver. What was that? Remember that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was part of it.
Yeah, well, when Bernie Adams sold it to TaylorMade, they buried it and created really good hybrids under the TaylorMade brand. But now they're re-releasing this. So I think if we just stick with the direct to consumer and keep pushing it, I think we'll be fine.
No, I don't know. It's kind of cool to see this because you always see, the same old come out every year from the big brands. But then when you did something completely innovative, and like, I just knew, honestly, I was like, oh, this guy's going to go somewhere, because, and then but before I even talked to you, like, when I saw the club, like, that's interesting. It could be a gimmicky club, who knows? And then I talked to you and I found out like the history of it and the development. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to blow up. This takes time. Like you said, you're not paying somebody, right? Like everybody else. It's like, I don't know. That's one thing I hate is everything's such pay to play in golf, right? And it's like, I'm like the antithesis of that. So I'm just more like, if you want to review it, send it to us. We'll review it.
Sure.
Like, no bullshit. I mean,
hey, I want to share a story with you guys. So after all said and done, things were going great. And I get a letter in the mail, and I want to show you guys what this is. This is from Tom Watson.
Shut up.
It's from Tom Watson. And he says, "Dear Mr. Walsh, thank you so much for your kind words. I have to admit that your club is He says, I have to admit, I have never seen a head shape like this one before. Good luck with it. Sincerely, Tom Watson." And the stamp is of Arnold Palmer. So here's why he sent this to me. Because on my website, I have a video of how was it created. And there's a clip of him at that actual tournament.
Really? You found it?
Yeah, I found it. And that's what I use in the explanation. And he saw it and he sent me this letter. So I sent him a club. But I mean, nobody writes handwritten letters anymore, right?
No.
It just was, I tell you, I got it framed and, I was smile ear to ear for a week after that, but really cool to get acknowledgement.
That's super cool. Like, because that's what, had you not gone to that tournament that day, right? You probably would have never known. I mean, honestly, you don't know what's going to be the trigger, right? In life.
You never know. There are so many things that have happened for a reason, I believe. And my friends now who used to laugh at me about, when I did this one, they are now saying, they're just taken aback by the success we've had. And again, I'd say to everyone who's watching and listening is this was not an intent to come into the world of golf and be a new, I don't want to be a PXG. I don't want to be anything. I just want to make some good clubs. And my goal is to make people love golf when they're around the green. That's really what it is. Because that's where I like to think I excel in that area. And I wanted people to see what the cutter wedge can do for you. And the premise behind it is really, it works. And we're, take a look at our website, playcutter.com. And you can see the reviews. I mean, here's the other thing too, is we're the #1 selling wedge on Amazon. I never wanted to achieve that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. We sell it for more on Amazon.
Of course, you have to.
We sell it for more on Amazon, and I think it's $5 more on Amazon. And go figure, people are buying it on Amazon because they're comfortable.
It's easier to buy. Yeah, they just feel comfortable. Nothing against you. Yeah.
I struggled with that choice. I didn't know if I wanted to do it. And I said, let's just figure it out.
Deal with the devil. Just kidding, Amazon.
Yeah. The other thing too is we are now in the UK, Australia, Canada, and the US. We have warehouses in all 4 of those countries.
Holy crap.
And that, yeah, I
in
didn't
2
think I was
years,
going
you
to do
from
that.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
We had those with all of that was within 13 months. We had warehouses literally in those places. So we've gone through 4 shipments, but we've also shipped to those countries. So it's growing, it's blowing up, and I love it. Like I said, my goal isn't to sell millions of these in like that. I'd like to sell millions over a period of time. And I want to, what my goal really is to erode the big 5. I want to erode their sales. So they sit up and go, who are these guys?
I love that. I think we all
There's a plan
want
for
that,
everything.
right? Because I feel like there's such a monopoly, right? Like they're totally a monopoly. And like they have, I don't know. Honestly, like I don't work with any of those brands. None of them. They want to know why? Because they don't care about us. They don't. They have their ways of making money. So whatever. I don't care. Actually, I'm going to tell you a story. One time I reached out to a big brand. I'm not going to name names, but they're actually a Scottsdale-based brand. It's been around forever. So that could probably tell you who they are. And I was talking to them and they go, at one point they said to me, it's not you, it's us. That's what they told me. I swear to God, I have that in writing. And I was like, are we in like junior high? Are we breaking up? like, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So,
well, your guest, Terry Kaler, am I saying that right? Kaler? Terry Kaler said something that really resonated with me.
I'll introduce you to him if you want me to. He's a good dude, man.
I've actually spoken to the person before, but he said something about how, people say all the time, you should get a pro to play this. And what he said was really poignant. He's saying that, the clubs that the pros play are hand-tuned, fine-tuned, and made for that person. They're not off the shelf. So what makes you think that you can play the clubs that they're playing? You're really not. You're buying it off the rack.
You want to hear my story about buying? I bought these Titleist AP2s, right? They were like $2,000 irons. Okay. I can't remember who used them. Jordan and somebody used them a couple of years ago. I was like, I'm going to buy them. This is before I started and the website. And guess what? I could never hit those clubs. Never. And then I got fitted by a brand called Redbird Avian, which does an online fitting. And they sent me a set of custom clubs, which I actually have on the show in the next couple of weeks. They're awesome. They're out of Seattle and they're legit. My game completely changed. I could hit solid every single time. So it's just, those guys are fine tuned for the club. Don't think because they're using a Titleist AP2 or whatever I have back there, that's what's making them win the game. No, man, they've been fitted for that club. It could have been a rock with a stick tied to it. They would still hit it right. You know what I mean? Like,
it's whenever you see what's in,
the bag,
Rory McIlroy's bag, it's like, okay, great. I mean, you just have to play you have to play your game. And that's why we created this club. In all honesty, we created the club because it makes the game easier. And some people go,
what want to do.
Somebody once said, why are you creating a club to make the game easier? Why don't they just go get a lesson and make the shot and learn how to hit the shot? And
it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that, right?
Do you not play golf? It does not work like that.
Like,
if it did, we'd all be good.
A lot of people have a lot of things to say, but the only way to do this is to try the club. I mean, once you try it, you're going to go, holy crap. It's exactly the most common thing that people say to us when they review the club. It does exactly what you say it does. That's the number one thing people say.
Yeah. I mean, there's no BS, right? Like, I don't know. I think you're going to blow up. I think in 5 years, everyone's going to know what cutter is. And I don't know. I just do.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, the number one strategic thing we did that worked was we named it cutter, because I said, I want people to say, hey, toss me my cutter, not toss me my 56, toss me my cutter. Well, which one? The 58. I want cutter to be synonymous with short game, 30 yards and in kind of a thing. And I think that's so many people call me and say,
dude, you got a fan of me. You had a fan of me since.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
And we really are friends. Like, people go, oh yeah, you always say people are your friends. No, I don't invite just random ass people on my show. Number one. And number two, we've had lunch together. We've hung out. Like, I mean, he was in California. Like, we talked a bunch before that. And then we actually, you only have so many lunches in the PGA show. How many do we have? Like 2, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm 2 days. I had lunch with that guy. So at the little cafeteria area.
Yeah. all you guys out there, Paul is true blue. I mean, he's a good guy, and he doesn't fudge it. So that's why I'm doing this. Obviously, it's great to talk to you again, see you again. But appreciate the time.
Let's do more stuff together. I want to do more stuff with you. I like
absolutely.
your stuff, man. I think you guys, seriously, it's going to blow up. I mean, it's already blown up, but like, it's going to blow up. It's going to be like, I really think it's going to be like Alien Wedge blow up. Like people, Alien Wedge was a gimmick. No, dude, they sold $100 million of those wedges back in the 90s.
$200 million.
$200 million.
Most highest selling club ever made.
Internet back then. It was like barely internet, right? This is on television, and everyone had an Alien Wedge. So it's because why? They want to get better. So I'm telling you right now, market right now. This is the time that cutter wedge will be the Alien Wedge of this generation, no doubt.
Awesome. Thank you for that prediction.
And then you're going to fly me out to your house, and we're going to go wine tasting, and then get
absolutely.
So
100%.
Well, thanks for being on the show today. What's your website again? Cutter wedge or something?
Playcutter.com, or just Google cutter wedge and you'll find it. We got the first 4 pages of SEO, so we're covered.
I think I'm number 5. Let's see if I go cutter wedge. I bet you I'm on there. Let's see. Cutter wedge. Hold on. I got to do this. I'm in position 9 for Google.
There you go.
Just the word cutter wedge. That's an e-commerce term.
Yep.
And, it's because Amazon and then you.
Yeah.
Damn it. Damn Amazon.
Cutter Golf is got it wrapped up as well.
Actually, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I'm actually position 7 today. So check them out. If you check out a review, Dickie gave us a discount on the cutter wedge too. I'm just telling you guys. I don't remember what it is. I think it's like 10% off, 15% off. I don't remember what it was. It's in the article, so it's cool because you have to do that. He just did it because we're friends. So if you want to check out cutter wedge, check out Dickie's site, or check out our full review on the site too. You'll see that we loved it. And we loved it back in 2019 or 2019, not now, right? So like, anyways, thank you for being on the show, and I will talk to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Very soon, my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
This week's episode was sponsored by their friends at Orca Golf Bags. Orca Golf Bags is the only woman-owned golf bag design and build company in the country. The golf bag is your biggest piece of equipment, so make sure it feels like you. At Orca Golf Bags, they stand out in a sea of lookalike products. So check out Orca Golf at orca-golf.com to learn more.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
You're going to beat me at golf?
Stay connected on and off the show by visiting golfersauthority.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Golf is always more fun when you win.
Stay out of the beach and see you on the green.